Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Aging and Spirituality, where we focus on having a fulfilled life after 60. I'm Chris Jensen, and this is my co-host.
Hi, I'm Kathy Lee Taylor.
I'm glad you're here. So, how would you like to have better relationships and more fun in life now past 60?
Both.
Can't
Me.
imagine you'd say no. So stay tuned because I want to share a little known secret for unleashing the wellspring of the vital force we need to have better stamina, mental clarity, more meaningful relationships, and get in touch with our inner joy.
Well, okay, I'll take all of it.
Okay, good, good, good. Let's go. So, what is this critical force? It's vitality. We're going to be talking about how your vitality affects every aspect of your life and how to turn on the juice in a way that takes only 5 minutes a day.
Wow.
So, before we get to that, before we get to this, the big secret, it's worth mentioning the basics that you may be aware of but not doing. Kathy and I were just talking about people being aware of better health, but then they don't do anything about it. So I want
A lot
to,
of people do that.
right. So I want to mention a few things. So eating natural, healthy foods. So often it's hard to find or know what's natural and healthy. So some big tips, just stay away from processed foods. Prioritize whole, unprocessed foods, fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, healthy fats like olive oil, avocado oil. Consider seasonal eating. So foods that are in season, that apparently that optimizes the nutrient intake and supports your overall health.
Especially fruit. I love seasonal fruit.
Yeah, because that's when you're supposed to be eating them. And if you can get local, it's even better. We can't always do that, but
Yeah, that's even better.
regular exercise, it doesn't have to be, strong man in the gym. Aim for 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise most days of the week. Doesn't have to be crazy. And then just have some movement in your day. If you work at a desk or if you're, sitting a lot, just get up and walk around every once in a while. That helps too. Sleep is the other thing. I'm talking about the basics here, then we're going to get into that exclusive stuff. So, sleep, establish a regular quality sleep schedule. And this is important. Most people don't do this. They would like to, but they don't. I'm a big offender of this. And I have worked on it in the last few years. And when I do it, it's so much better because I was always one of those night people. And that's the worst time to be up. The circadian rhythm actually wants us to be in bed by 9 o'clock, asleep. I have a nutritionist that I work with after having had breast cancer 5 years ago, and he said, the time between 9 and midnight is the most healing time for us to sleep. It's really important.
Okay, so that makes me wonder, is it not true then that some people are night people and some people are not? Like I've heard that my whole life. Some people just naturally stay up late and that's the way their bodies work, their rhythms want to be awake at that time, and other people will crash early and get up early in the morning. So what is that not true?
No, I think it's just what you learn. It's a learned behavior. When I was a kid, I was a high energy kid. And so for me, I wanted to stay up late just because I had a lot of energy. It would have been better to find other avenues to use that energy. And then I grew up in New
Okay,
York.
so that's where Z got it from.
Yeah, that's where she got it from. That's where my daughter got it from, and that's where my grandson got it from. Right.
Okay.
And,
All
and
right.
I also grew up in New York where there's a culture
Oh
of,
yeah, then
of being a night person.
24/7.
Yeah,
Never sleeps.
yeah, there's that culture. And I grew up on Long Island and it was a thing, if you just were a night person, you were the intellectual, the smart people, the artists, all it was a cultural thing.
Yes.
And and not knowing what it was, I continued to think that. But now, having learned about the circadian rhythm and going to bed earlier, I feel so much better. I can tell the difference.
Hmm.
When I am at my daughter's house and I'm watching Bo, somehow I never get to bed that early just because there's so much going on there. And I may get 8 hours of sleep and I'll feel fine in the morning. But when I'm home, if I'm actually in bed at 9 o'clock and go to sleep, then, and I feel like it's so good. Here's,
Okay.
I can feel the difference now. I remember when I first heard about this, and I was saying to the nutritionist, well, I was teaching yoga in the evening in person then, and I said, well, I get home late from my class, I can't do that. And he said, well, do the best you can and try it and see. But I was like, no, I get home from class at, 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then I eat, which I did. And, but you want to eat 3 hours at least before you go to bed. And if you can get to bed early, it's going to make a difference. It's much healthier. I did that one last year when I had this bad virus and I kept coughing. And when I got really steady about getting into bed at that time. And there are things you do. Wind down your activities before sleep, no screens, maybe a book, some relaxation stuff, those things. They all make a difference, in your overall vitality.
I'm laughing because I don't have to do any of that stuff. Ever since I was a little kid, 9 o'clock, I am out like a light. Like the light switch goes off, and I mean, I can't stay awake. If you could be throwing bombs at me, and I would be sleeping.
That's
Which
awesome.
makes me laugh. Which maybe it's not funny for some people because they struggle with going to sleep. Like I get it, but yeah, I don't have to work at that. My body just goes, okay, shut down time.
That's awesome.
On.
That's awesome. That says a lot for your vitality level, and your
Well,
health.
and I'm up so early. I'm up
Yeah,
by 5 o'clock.
yeah, yeah. It's great. I mean, it's great. And I know when I do it, I mean, I've been really working to it. I do not want to be up late.
Yeah,
And I see my daughter with all the stuff she has going on, and she'll be up really late working. And I think, oh, not a good habit, but she can't help it because she's got too many things to do right now. But
right.
but it makes a difference. So,
Yeah.
so
So
always,
it makes a difference to have what you said, it was a schedule, make a schedule
yeah,
so that you do the same thing every night and your body knows it's time
this time,
to
right?
slow down and
Yeah, it's the circadian rhythm. It's really interesting. I met a doctor once. He was a speaker at a conference that I had put on, and he was a really fascinating guy. And he traveled around speaking, and I said, "Do you ever sleep?" And he said, "Well, I don't have the gene for the circadian rhythm." He said, "So
what does that mean?
I don't know.
He doesn't sleep?
He doesn't sleep much. He doesn't sleep much, and it's just he didn't have that gene. And he tested for it, and it was really interesting. That
Weird.
Yeah, really interesting.
So we're all built differently.
We are built differently. So now that we know about these basic things, and the reason I wanted to start with them is because we may have all heard about this stuff, but have you taken the step to do it?
Yeah.
I had heard about going to bed early, and I didn't take the step to do it until there was a really exciting cause. And you don't have to wait for that. Let yourself have that. And food for sure, exercise, all those things. Now, you know about these things. What are you doing about it? Cathy and I have shared. Now, Cathy, she has no problem going to bed at 9 o'clock. I am learned to go to bed at 9, and it feels good. But now I want to get to some other ways that you may not have heard about that are very, very important to take our vitality. So the question is, what are your dominant thoughts about? See, are your thoughts and feelings filled with things that happened in the past, old memories, things you wished you'd done but didn't do, or happy things? All those thoughts take our energy. Our words take our energy. It's spewing out of us. Do you have thoughts that are filled with concerns about the future? All of that takes your vitality. Or maybe your thoughts are filled with anger and frustrations. That particularly takes a lot of energy. It stays in your body a long time.
But are you saying that it's thoughts or it's negative thoughts? Because if I have a lot of positive thoughts, is my vitality going to be drained?
Yeah. If you're thinking about all these things and you're happy and excited about it, and you talk about it, you're still gonna lose some vitality. There's still going to be energy that goes out in every thought and feeling. Now, you can't always be in a pure meditative state where there's nothing going on,
Right.
but the negative thoughts are going to be much bigger drain than
Okay.
the positive thoughts. But still, it all drains it.
Because you're saying that it's like vital force, no matter what, your energy is going out into
Going
the,
outward.
you're getting
Right.
drained. Okay, I get it.
Yes, the reason when people meditate, they say like meditation is like a good night's sleep. The reason is that you're bringing the energy inward rather than
Back into the body. Yeah.
going outward.
Okay.
So, um, all of these thoughts patterns are vitality feeds. That's the way I think of it. If you think about every thought or feeling you have is a shot of energy that's being dissipated, you get the idea of how much energy goes out in a typical day.
Mhm.
In ways you didn't think about or talk, or it's not talked about. And, you know, I can see that, being in a position of talking a lot.
Mhm.
I see how it happens. And a lot of yogis have a day of silence or a weekend of silence every once in a while to gather that vital life force so that they've got that life force to do things with. And
Well, I was thinking about this. Hope you don't mind me interrupting. What
um,
when I read this part of your story, I was thinking, I'll be working away and then I'll realize that a part of my brain is over here doing shit, something, it's doing something, right? And you're like, what is going on here, And I'll pay attention to it. And what happens at that point is that I'll kind of wrap it in spirit. Like I'll just allow it to like calm itself, like see my thought just becoming like a wave and just moving out so that I don't have to hold on to it, I don't have to respond to it, I don't have to be changed or moved by it in any way. It's just doing its little thing. And sometimes it's just like the ego gremlin, like it's my, like sometimes if I hear it like nattering, like you would a little kid, they're whining or they're just saying stuff that is just way out there, like why are you worried about that, or why are you thinking about stupid little selfish things like that? And then I'll realize that my little kid is actually trying to pay attention, and I kind of see it like a gremlin, like remember like Yoda, but only like a bad Yoda, like that kind of a little gremlin character, just going all the time. And then I just pay attention to it long enough that it calms down. That you don't so it's not like running a marathon in the background all the time while you're trying to process your life and do your life, in a calm centered, spirit kind of way. So the point of all of that was to say, if you find yourself having these different tracks going on all the time, ask spirit to work with them,
mhm,
ask spirit
yes,
to calm them down.
right,
And
right.
tell the gremlin it's okay. I'm gonna pet your little head in. It's okay. Go sit in the corner, you little twerp, like that kind of thing. So
Yeah,
it's not affecting you in the background.
yeah. No, that's really good. That's a really good process to do. Yeah,
Yeah,
because that stuff going on in the background is just a
it's draining you. That's the point.
it's an
It's
energy
draining your
thing.
energy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really draining your energy. So that's a great example.
yeah.
Really great. So the thing I wanted to share, I said the big secret that for 5 minutes a day is called a desire break. Because
Oh, okay.
driving all those thoughts and feelings are our desires. And you may say, what about fears? Well, fears are a negative desire. So
Hmm.
they're positive. The things you don't want, the things you do want, the things you don't want, are all in the desire box. So there's this process of doing a 5 minute desire break. And it's amazing how that will increase your vitality and just open the door to so much goodness. So I thought we would actually do this. We won't do
Yeah,
it
let's do
for
it.
5 minutes, but maybe we'll do it for 3 minutes because I know online 5 minutes can be a long time. So, but let's do it. Okay, so sit in a nice relaxed position with your spine straight if possible. It doesn't have to be ramrod straight, but fairly straight. And then we're going to take 3 deep diaphragmatic breaths. So deep diaphragmatic. And I want you to notice how you're feeling right now, just for a moment. Now close your eyes, try to relax a bit, and just notice your mind. I'm going to time us for 3 minutes, but notice what's going on in there. If there's a thought or a feeling about something you want or some desire, try to just shed it. Try to let it just roll off, visualize like water rolling off a slick raincoat or water rolling off a duck's back. It's just, you're just shedding it. If a fear comes up, same thing, it's a negative desire, just shed it. Just let that, just try to shed it. And you can mentally say, if you feel like it's hard to shed it, just mentally say, I'm releasing energy from this desire. I'm releasing energy from this fear. I'm not putting out a desire of fear. And just keep trying to shed it and let it go. So I'm going to try and do that for a couple minutes. Now just notice how you feel. You can open your eyes and just see if you feel any different than we started. And we only did it for 3 minutes. It's really a 5-minute practice, but I didn't want to have us sitting here too long. It's amazing. And even if you feel like you have trouble shedding, just you are trying to do that is going to make it happen.
Yeah,
And
very calming.
it's very calming because what's propelling all those thoughts and feelings are the desires.
Mhm.
That's really what's underneath it all.
There you go, listeners. When you're doom scrolling on your stupid phone, sit down and take a 5-minute desire break. And
Yeah,
then you want to go back to that nonsense.
right. 5 minutes is all you need, and you don't have to do that. If you do it daily, you may just experience a tremendous increase in energy, vitality, your relationships will be better. There's more inner joy coming through. You will be surprised.
Yeah, because you're actually able to disconnect from the chaos.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
the
and
point.
the
Right.
addiction of data and info coming in constantly all day long.
Right.
Yike, that's exhausting.
It is exhausting. It is. So I
Great
hope
one.
you enjoyed this, and please let us know. Please come to our YouTube channel and like us, subscribe, and ask us questions. Give us
Yes.
feedback because I want to know if this worked for you. And it's not a one and done kind of thing. Do it
Yeah.
every day or do it as many days a week as you can. When I started doing things like this, I do it during the week and not on weekends. But once I started getting the benefits, I couldn't wait to do
Yeah.
it.
For all your friends who ask you, I feel anxious. Every time they say I got anxiety, give them the 5 minutes,
Right.
sit down and do a desire break.
No desire breath.
They
Yeah.
won't have anxiety anymore.
You
Break
can.
that pattern totally,
Yeah. Yeah. You can.
break it up. Okay, kids. See ya. See you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.